write on Patanjali or writing any other text, bhakti is difficult because bhakti is like explanation about the beauty of the rose flower. Can you write any formula on the beauty of rose? You can't. You can't take to the laboratory and test a rose, saying that, come on, you analyze this rose. He says that it contains this acid, that acid, this acid, this acid. But in that test tube, you don't have a test tube called the beauty of rose. It is like that. So therefore, writing something on that is a Herculean task. But then bhakti is something which is most important parts of yoga. Of all the four parts of yoga, I consider bhakti is the most important part for various reasons. One reason about bhakti yoga is that Krishna, while giving various explanations and various yogas in Bhagavad Gita, Tatra ekagram mano krutva nasabhyantara charana, like that he keeps telling about various things. And when Krishna is explaining about all those things, Arjuna looks confused. When Arjuna looks confused, immediately Krishna changes the whole idea, saying that, oh, don't worry, Arjuna, about all these things. Just surrender to me, I will take care of it. Aham tva sarva pape vimukshishyami ma shucha. Don't worry about anything. As if that's the solution for everything. Krishna says like that. Similarly, if you look at the parampara that we have, this culture which is 10,000 years more survived, it's hardly there is any amount of Raja Yogis that are there. You can count 10 people as the Jnana Yogis like Shankaracharya, etc. Whereas the same thing that you see Karma Yogis, here and there, some Gine Chune, that's what you have. But whereas Bhaktas you see in this culture, anywhere to anywhere they are Bhaktas. A cobbler is a Bhakta, a driver is a Bhakta, this is a Bhakta, that's a Bhakta. It looks like Bhakti is something which is kept this particular culture alive. Another thing about the Bhakti is that Shankaracharya is supposed to be blazing intellect. So, Jnana Karma Samuchyamna, not even that. Kevalam Jnana Matram, that's what Shankara says, only Jnana takes care of it. Such a person who went around the country to establish Jnana and all that, when he comes to Kashi, and then suddenly he is melted down in Bhakti, saying that, Gatistvam Gatistvam Tamaika Bhavani, Mata Annapurneshwari Bhikshandehi Kripavalamana Karim. How simple he becomes. It looks like that as if all other paths are aside in a balance and Bhakti is on the one side. He caters to Bhakti so much. Not only him, but another great saint, intellectual, stalwart intellect, that's what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is from 24 Parganas in Bengal, and extraordinary intellect. So much of an intellect that he was, wherever he would go, intellectuals in that place would run away from there because that they could not argue with him. Just so extraordinary, knowledgeable. Looks like that he, the story says that he went to this thing, or is it, Chidambaram. Went to Chidambaram, all the intellectuals there that ran away. There was nobody there. And such a person, moment he goes to this thing, Odisha, unschooled place, and that too a small little village called as Badipada. Nobody is educated. He goes there. He saw the children were playing and dancing and this and that. He said, with all their intellect, I can't do that, whereas these people are doing that. Why it happened like that? It's because they're innocent. That's why he gave up his knowledge. Gave up everything that is knowledge. He stopped arguing with anybody. He picked up only one mantra of all that. That is what is Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare. And then he started dancing with them. And when he started dancing with him, people started following him. Wherever he would go, hundreds of people would follow him. When he had knowledge, people would run away from him. When he gave up the knowledge, people started going from him. That's what is the power of Bhakti. Bhakti seemed to be something which is extraordinary because such great jnanis who gave up. You mean to say somebody should have a jnana like that to practice Bhakti? No, look at Mirabai. What's the knowledge she had? She didn't have any knowledge. She did not go to any Vedantic school or anything like that. She is from a royal family, but then came into bhakti mode, such a way that she could command on Krishna. What a kind of a thing person that she was. So bhakti is across the various category of people, everybody, women, men, everybody is there in bhakti. So it looks like that bhakti is something which is very important. Not only that, bhakti is important because I like it. So it's an extraordinary, wonderful technique, bhakti. Now, what is this bhakti? Narada gives us the Bhakti Sutras. As I said, Narada, as earlier I said, Atato Bhaktim Vyakhyasyaamaha. He is not giving us the Bhakti Sutras like the way Jnanis give, analysis, this and that. He says, I am giving the Vyakhya Bhakti. Vyakhya means there are experiences that you have in the life, and I'm giving the explanation of that so that you see that experience that you have is something which is extraordinary. Unbelievable kind of an experiences that you have. So bhakti is there in your own daily experience that is there. That's what Narada tries to point out. So atato bhaktim vyakhyasyaama. There's another thing which he says that atato, 84 sutras are there. That's all, not more than that. But then they're gems. Now therefore ataha bhaktim vyakhyasyaama. Now why he uses both these things, now therefore? That means basically you have tried so many things in life. In the life, beyond the life, so many things that you tried, but then somehow that you are not satisfied with that. So now you have tried everything. If you have not exhausted, please go ahead, try some more things. But then when it comes to a level where it's helpless that you are, then come to bhakti. Bhakti is the last part. Now, therefore, he says, come to the bhakti. And now it is like the way that a person came to a saint sitting under a tree. He says, I would like to meet some real good saint. Tell me where. Then he says, you can really meet that saint, the description, he says like this, a saint is like this and all, we're sitting under a tree and all like that. And then you can't find out. And then he's definitely realized you can help him. He went round and round and round for 20 years. And then finally desperately came back to this place. Suddenly you saw the description that he has given, this the same tree. The saint is that fellow sitting under that. Are, it's your description only? I said, yeah. But then why didn't you tell me? I said, you are not listening to it. You were in a search of somebody. And then you went round and then came here. But then you made me to do all that thing. Are, you are talking about your suffering, but look at my suffering. 20 years I've been sitting here because you will come back. Another 20 years also, if you did not come, I would have been sitting here. So, like that, we search everywhere, but finally that's there within us. Your own experience gives you. This is a very important statement, what I said. Bhakti is your own experience. Now, what is that experience? Athato bhaktim vyakhyasyaamaha. Then he immediately gives the definition of bhakti. What is bhakti? Sa, that means that bhakti, asmin parama prema rupa. Now, this is where a lot of people translate saying that your supreme love for God is bhakti. I had a trouble in that. Because at least, see, your love for God is bhakti, if you take it. Immediately, if somebody defined to me that God, your love for God is bhakti, first question that comes to me is that first to show me God, then I love. I have not even seen him. I don't know whether he exists or not. And then he asked me to love for God. How can I love? Love somebody in Timbuktu. Can you do that? Array, at least, WhatsApp message should be there. You should connect with them and some internet connection and some details that are there. And you don't have any detail. All the detail that you have is very damaging. Like this fellow must be so old because ever since creation, that fellow is there. He never changed the portfolio. And you mean to say that somebody who is so old, I should marry? I should see somebody who's young and this and that. So how can I love somebody who I don't know it? So therefore, I cannot introduce to you about the bhakti saying that your love for God is bhakti. That means an unknown term like God, I introduce about bhakti. No, but God, we know it. But God, what we know God is our own imagination. It's nothing to do with the God outside. Isn't it? In fact, whatever you imagine, that's what is God. A Pope, he died and went hurried to heaven, wanted to meet God, rushed there, and then there that Saint Peter is sitting there, Pope said, I have to urgently meet him. Hey, wait. God is busy. No, how can you say busy? I came all the way to meet him. No, before you go there, let me tell you some things about God. Then you decide about it. He said, what is it? He says that, first of all, you said you wanted to meet him. God is not him. God is her. Already Pope is half dead. And then you think that is a white guy? No, God is black. Direct from Africa. And when you go there, God will be looking at you, but you think that God is looking at somewhere else. He has got squint eye. Then he says, okay, let me decide whether I should go and see him or not. Because you want to see the God who is your own imagination. See, your own picturization. And what is the God of your picturization? Your limited mind can give a limited picture. So therefore, he cannot introduce God as a basis for introducing bhakti. See, with reference to God, I cannot introduce bhakti. Because God itself is something which is an unknown factor. You can't introduce an unknown factor with the help of another unknown factor. Like a very simple thing, you want to come to my house. Oh, come, Bangalore, opposite to post office, my house. I say, where is the post office? Post office, opposite to my house, finish. Where do you go? Both these things are unknown factors. I should ask you, what do you know? Yeah, I know something. Oh, Ramakrishna Mission, Bangalore, I know. Then you walk straight and then go take a left turn, take a right turn. See, that means there is a known reference factor. From there I can introduce. Here in this sentence, Satvasmin Parama Prema Rupaha, I know one factor, that's what is Prema. We all go through that experience. There is nobody who did not have the experience of Prema. So Prema, I know it. So Bhakti is what? Parama Prema Rupa. That means enriched, ennobled love itself is Bhakti. Bhakti is not outside Prema, enriched love. Now you know. Now tell me, I know what is love. Tell me how to enrich this love. That's all. Simple thing. We know what love is. Yes, not only you know, everybody knows about it. Love, every child goes through that. In fact, what happens is that love, you know about it even before the intellect is born. For the child, the intellect is born only when the child is 5, 6 years old, 7-year-old. Before that, intellect is not there. Whereas love comes as soon as the child is born. 3rd day, 4th day, looks at your face, child smiles. Why the child has to smile? Out of love. Yes, through smile. So that means child knows love. Even in 4, 5 days old child, intellect comes much later. So we all know what love is. That's why the child smiles. And we don't question why the child is smiling, because it's love. When adult smiles, we question, there could be reason why he's got, must be reason behind it. Child is something which is natural. Adult. So therefore, intellect comes much later, and we give so much importance to intellect. Even before intellect born, for 5 years, you are emotional. And that emotion called as love is there with us. And you know how many different varieties of love that we experience as a child. Mother's love, father's love, parents' love, this love, that love, neighbor's love. You are flooded with love from all over. Anybody comes in touch with you, that they throw love on you. You're going in the train, people will talk to you. Air flight, people will talk to you. So there's so much that love. So we all know love. And different varieties of love, brothers love, sister. I said, like in China, when I was giving talk, I said that we have such variety of love, brothers love, sisters love. They said, Raghuramji, they don't understand what you are saying. I said, what do you mean by that? In China, policy is 1 child per family. That means child does not have a brother or a sister. Uncle and aunt doesn't forget about all this. I was shocked. I said, what a whole lot of gap in the cultural aspect of it. And not only we love, animals love you. Look at, you have a pet dog or a cat, you see that how much they love you. And particularly the 3-4 days that you are not there, 1 month that you are not there, you go back, your dog just loves you. In fact, everywhere I see that the dog wags the tail when people love, they come. But our dog, now it is not there, but when it was there, it was the other way around. The tail would wag the dog. It's so powerful. Animals love you. Not only that, the love itself is unconditional. The animal, the dog will not love you because that you are beautiful, because that you are rich, because you are this, you are intelligent. No. Love you because of love itself. Love itself is unconditional. Mullah Nasruddin brought his dog to the vet and said to the vet, cut off the tail of this dog. Vet said, young dog, beautiful tail, nice, wonderful dog, looks so beautiful. Why do you want me to cut off that dog tail? Is there anything wrong if you cut off the tail? No, no. Life continues with the dog, but then I should know. Why should you cut off the tail of the dog? This is a secret between you and me. Don't tell anybody. Vet said, what is it? Next month, my mother-in-law is coming home. I would like to remove all the welcome signs in the house. But the dog tails wax, Dog tail wax for you and also your mother-in-law. Unconditional. Not only the animals have love, plants have love. This is what Jagdish Chandra Bose said. Plants love your touch. Plants love your nearness. In fact, I come across everywhere, the gardens that board saying that don't touch my plants. 100 rupees fine if you touch. It's very cruel. A friend of mine in Hyderabad has a garden, and there is the first place where I've seen the boards say that please touch my plants, they love your touch. So sweet. And children go to that park. Right away, first thing they do is that hug the plant and touch the thing, kiss the leaves. They get some water and put that whether the tree requires or not. You see, the moment you love, you like it. And you don't want to destroy it. Life is love. Wherever there is life, there is love. That's why in Sanskrit we have the same word for life and love. Prana Spandana is life. Hridaya Spandana is life. Local is different. Spandana is the same. It brings life to the object, means you have that love with you. So therefore we know what love is. Now he says, enrich love. That's what is Parama Prema Rupa. We think that we know love, but we don't know what love is. Because whenever we have the experience of love, you see that spring springs, everything looks beautiful. And you have a lovely feeling whenever something that love. But you know what is the expression that we give? He fell in love, she fell in love. Nobody falls in love, everybody rises in love. That shows how much we are ignorant of it. So first of all, what love is that you understand. That's what in the first chapter, Patanjali in Narada Bhakti Sutras, he gives what love itself is. I will not go into all the details because too much of material. But let me give a very simple idea. What love can do it. As I said, when you are in the state of love, spring springs, things look wonderful. When you are in the state of love, what otherwise not acceptable becomes acceptable. It's a simple idea. Like go to the restaurant. And when you go to the restaurant, usually as per the menu card. These days, menu card, it's a menu book, it's like the number of items are like in the telephone directory. And then you search and search and search for about half an hour and then you come out. That waiter is waiting for you. Then you call him and say, item 174. Yes. Yeah, yes, sir. It's there. Can you add a little more sugar in this, a little less, this thing is a little. He will do everything because you have very specifications oriented. Yes. You go, all those things, he will turn his head for everything and finally go there and say item 174. That's all. Rest of it is left. And you also know that. There's so much of specifications. Whereas the same thing when you go to the restaurant with somebody who you love and that person asks you, sweetheart, what can I order for you? Anything is okay. Arey, what happened to all your specifications? Love dissolves all the specifications. In love, there are no more specifications because specifications belong to intellect. Where there is love, intellect doesn't come into the picture. Just you feel anything is okay. Banana is okay, banana peel is also okay. Not for you. Even Krishna. Look at the way Krishna went to Vidura's place. And in the night, and Vidura said, wow, Krishna, you are here? Yeah. But there's so many palaces, so many kings are there, princes are there, you came here. Yes, I am you. I came here. And then meanwhile, Vidura's wife listens to the conversation. He says, hey, come on. Krishna has come. And he's hungry. He wants food. I'll set the food ready, but meanwhile give him banana, and then she advances the plate of banana. Vidura is in that ecstasy, peels the banana, throws the banana out and gives the peel to Krishna. Krishna is happily eating. Banana is also okay, peel is also okay. Love can transform that. Only love can do that. Your complaints are gone. The moment love is there, the complaint is gone. That's what is the power of love. And we all know that. We all have that. Prashanti, earlier days, I only give you the examples from the day-to-day life. It's not that, some Ramayana, Mahabharata, no, simple things. Earlier days, Prashanti, there used to be one bus going to Prashanti in the morning, one bus in the evening, and then same bus will come back. And we're very small little place. And then the village, at least about 3-4 miles walk to Prashanti. So Friday evening I would go there. Saturday, Sunday spend there. Monday come back. This was our routine. So I go on the Friday evening to go to the bus stop. 3 o'clock I finish my bath and all that, 4 o'clock. And the bus fellow knows that every Friday I go to the ashram. Those days they used to call it the ashram. So because I'm going to the ashram and I would freshly dress up and all that, he would provide a nice seat for me, neat and clean, and then I would sit there. And naturally, the village buses, that 20 seats, 40 people there, 40 seats, 60 people are there. So it is like that. So I sit down, and the people spent whole day in the city market. They would have come, because after all, for them, going back to their home. And they cram in the bus and spend the whole day. Villager in the city market gathers enough of dust and smell and all those things. Added to that, if he is smoking also, that's also added. With all those things, now he will sit next to me. Look at what happens to me. I look at him, he's horrible, he's smelly, he's dirty, he's this, he's that. And now 1 hour journey that we have to make. I know a bit of pranayama, doesn't mean I can hold the breath for 1 hour. Okay? And every time I breathe, I say, oh my God, this is like that. And there's not 1 day or 2 days. Every Friday is the same story. I said, it's miserable. I'm unhappy. And looked at what is my unhappiness. Is it because of the journey? If the journey is to be unhappy, he is happy, I'm unhappy. He is happy because he's going home. I'm unhappy. Is it because the distance? The distance is the same for us. Everything is the same. Week after week is the same. I realized it's because of my complaint. And the more and more complaints, more and more unhappy I am. Please understand this very carefully. The reason for our unhappiness is our own complaint. It's not outside. And the more I look at him, the more complaint. This fellow is not shaved properly, this fellow did not dress properly. So my list of complaints increases. The more and more list of complaints increases, my misery also increases. One day I realized, after all, he has to go to the village. The same bus he has to travel. Either I stop traveling, but I have to go to the ashram. So therefore, let me tolerate. What helps you to tolerate is your own love. When you are in the state of love, you can tolerate. important thing. I tolerate. All right, let him sit down next to me. It's okay. 1 hour after that, he will get down, he'll go his place, I go to my place. One day I was reading Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He was giving discourse to the people there in Dakshineshwar. He said we must tolerate every religion, every faith. Suddenly, as if something hit him on his head, he goes into trance. After about 15 minutes, he comes back from the trance. And he said, what did I say? We must tolerate? No, Divine Mother says, we must accept it. And then after they dispersed, and Naren was sitting there, and the people were sitting around Naren. Naren said to everybody, wow, what a wonderful message Thakur has given. They said, what is the message? It's not to tolerate, to accept. They said, what is the big deal? Not tolerate, accept is one. No. When I say that I tolerate you, that means anyway you are bad. I'm so good that I tolerate you. It's actually self-praising. The moment I say accept you, that means you may have some shortcomings. I also have shortcomings. So you are acceptable to me. I was all these days tolerating the fellow who comes and sits next to me. No, accept him. Once I accept him, then you see that I sit down. That fellow comes with a smile and say, come sit down next to me. Now my complaint is not there. Unhappiness is not there. You see how easily that we come out of unhappiness? The moment we rise with the help of love, from tolerate, we go to the accept. Earlier, when we are sitting like that, as I said, that there are so many people are standing. Because that I was in trouble, I shrink. He says his friend, come and sit down. My misery is added. Whereas now, I only tell the other fellow, you also come and sit down. Let's all join together. See, easy for me. I never even planned for anything like that. It just happens like that. Only thing that can happen with that is because of love. Love can accept. And now look at the whole vista changes in front of you the moment that you accept it. Because I love him, I accept him. I start conversing with them. I said, which is the village that you're coming from? They're like this. Just note. I said, I come from ashram. He says, Babaji, I know that you are coming from ashram. And I go a little further ahead. So then now conversation develops. I said, what did you bring? He said, certain vegetables. Every month, every week you bring once, no, twice I bring it. So you also brought? Yeah. I brought the whole basket full of it and then I sold it here. How much money did you make it? Not much these days. They don't tell me. When I made it, it was 700-800 rupees. Now he smiles. 1,000 rupees I made it. Wow, you are very rich. I don't even have 100 rupees with me. You have 1,000 rupees with you. Now he feels great. And he said, okay. So weekly, twice you get 1,000 rupees. That means 2,000 rupees. Yeah, Babaji. Yes. So you put everything for drinking? No, I never drink. I said, don't tell me that. Last week I was waiting for the bus. You came from the Shendi shop. That was only one time. He doesn't deny it. Okay, do one thing. Keep 100 rupees for your drink. Rest of it you give to your wife. Because she has to run the family. Again, no, please. I can keep 200 rupees, please. I don't have money. It's all his money. He earned it. But look at the way he expects me, he requests me. Innocence. You appreciate. You see, the moment that you accept, automatically your love takes you further to appreciate. So many stories I learned from the villages, and that's what I use in my talks. And 1 hour journey used to have been for eternity. Now, because I talk to him, I appreciate him. Looks like in 5 minutes we are there. And not only that, he will come with me to the ashram, he will drop me there, and then he will go ahead. A wonderful thing. We have an ability to accept. Not only that, we have an ability to appreciate. How many times you appreciate? raised to that level. Love can make you to that. I can give you hundreds of stories where love can make you to appreciate the things, appreciate the level of things. And it's not the question of who is bad or good. Even as the bad person, there is so much that you can appreciate. That's what Rama shows. When Ravan is dying, Lakshmana says, wow, we should be happy, celebrate because Ravan is dying. Rama says, no. Behind the evil Ravan, there is a great saint Ravan dying. Are you appreciate him? Yes. Why don't you go to him? Take a message of dying, parting message. Lakshmana goes to Ravan, bows in front of him and says that, please give us a message, parting message before you die. Ravan smiles and says to Lakshmana, I don't think you have come here by yourself. Rama must have said. He still knows. And that's what he says, Lakshmana. Even my wife doesn't see any good in me. Only person who can still see that good in me is Rama. Extraordinary. Greatness of Rama is to be able to see something which is good in Ravan. And then he gives a message. Lakshmana, whenever you want to do anything bad, postpone it. You may not do it. Good, you want to do it, don't postpone it. Do it right away. I wanted to build a bridge to heaven so that everybody can go and see that. I said, any day I can do it. I postponed it. Today I'm dying, I didn't do that. I wanted to bring Sita. Everybody told me, wait. Maricha said, don't do it. Wait. Wisdom prevails you because you are not a person, you are a knowledgeable person. Vibhishna says, why do you want to do that? And more than that, Kumbhakarna says to Ravana, you could have woken me up that day. Even today it is not too late. I didn't listen. And look at what happened today. Good, you want to do it right away. Bad, postpone it. But then Upanishad is very greedy. He says, not only the question of appreciation, but you can go to the level to see the God. Evil, everything is there, but you can see the God. Don't you see that? Look at the way. A dirty pond is there, a good water pond is there. But when the sun or the moon reflects, even in the dirty water, moon doesn't say no to it. Beautiful reflection, you can see that. A pond. Doesn't discriminate. Why do we say that something like that? God does not discriminate. We discriminate. That's what is the idea. You can see the divinity everywhere. God is there. So your love can take you all the way up to the level where you can see the God in the world. In fact, what else is there in this world? What is the ingredient of this world? It's God. Only thing is we can't see that. Great people are great because they can see the divinity. That's why when the Rishi looks at the world, it spontaneously comes out of him saying that Isha Avasyamidam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat, whatever that is there is nothing but Isha Avasyam. God is staying in this. You might dismiss him that he is mad. But at the same time, when you accept it, you start thinking that, how can I also see that way? If somebody can see, I see this world is dirty, horrible, this, that, and all that, whereas somebody else can see the God in that. And he's enjoying the world at this moment. Can I not do that? This is what is the idea. Parama Prema Rupa, your love can really be enriched in such a way that you can see the God in the world outside. And so many other things that are there. There's nothing else that you want when you're in the state of love. If somebody says that, what can I give you? I said, no, love is there, that's fine. Nothing else you wanted. Because you're satisfied. In fact, that's another very beautiful idea that love takes you to that satisfaction. Trupto bhavati is a beautiful word. Because normally our experience of trupti means absolute satisfaction. A trupti belongs to the sensory organ. You see, our senses. Like for example, I want to see a movie and I see the movie. I say, wow, I really have seen that. I want to listen to the nice music and I hear nice music, I feel so satisfied. It's actually when we were, a friend of mine and myself, we were crazily going around in Europe. And while going around in Europe, used to play, and those days CDs were there, and then that recording of Hari Prasad Chaurasia we were listening. Wonderful flutist. And then I told my friend that, Hari Prasad comes many times to Europe. Don't miss a chance, because today you are listening to the CD. He is a German friend. But when you listen to him in person, that's a totally different experience of satisfaction. You were talking like that, stopped at one of the gas stations just to fill the gas. When we were filling the gas, we saw in that board somebody has stuck a small little note saying that Hari Prasad Chaurasia is in the town, he's playing. Wow, unexpected, thrilled. Immediately we stopped, went there. We were about 40 people listening to him. There no mic, no nothing. Only 2%, 3% from India, myself and Hari Prasad, and his flute, tabla. Imagine the joy that you get. Tripto bhavati. When you listen to the music, your ears are satisfied. When you have a nice, wonderful feast, the tongue is satisfied. When you see a movie, your eyes are satisfied. Whereas, what is that satisfaction when you're in the state of love? Ears, tongue, taste, everything is satisfied together. And what is that one unit where all the senses are together? That's what is your mind. So therefore, love is an experience of satisfaction of the mind. Now there's another interesting feature about that. When the tongue is satisfied, you transcend the tongue. You transcend the object outside. When the thirst is satisfied, you are transcend the thirst center. You are tired, you sleep. Wow, it's a wonderful sleep. You transcend the sleep center. Same way, when you are in the state of love, you transcend the mind. Buddhishcha navijeshtate. Mind doesn't function in the state of love. When you transcend the mind, what you are nothing but self. All this practice of asana, pranayama takes you to dharana, dhyana, samadhi, omkara, this kara, that kara, all those things we say. For what? To go to that samadhi sthiti, to go to that peaceful state, self. And love just takes you to that. That's why he says that tripto bhavati. And next state is atma ramo bhavati. You're established in atma sthiti. There is nothing in our experience which can directly take you to that atma sthiti other than two things. One is love and the other is sleep. But sleep is not conscious, whereas love, consciously you reach that state. We all have that love. Is it not bhakti? Extraordinary technique. You don't have to do anything, you stay in love. That's why Jesus Christ said, God is love. You might leave God, but don't leave love. On the other hand, I would tell the different way. I say that love itself is God. Not God is love, because I don't know what God is, but I know what love is. If I look at through love, my parents look like God. My siblings look like God. My children look like God. Teacher looks like God. That's what, when the Rishi sees that, such a wonderful experience he has, that Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo. It's not just words. It's an experience that is coming out. Atithi Devo Bhava. Look at somebody can experience that. Whereas we are on the other side. Somebody says, I'm coming to your, oh, you are coming to our house. I'm so sorry. I'm planning to go outside. You have not yet done, but you are planning now. Because you said it. Where is the question of Atithi Devo Bhava? Unfortunately, that is. Well, there are a lot of things that are there. I don't want to get it. But simple thing is, if these experiences of emotions are wonderful, why don't we stay there? We have this, we are born with that. Stay there. But then our love, compassion, these things are corrupted. What is that which corrupts? Ego is the one which corrupts. Love, when it is corrupted by ego, becomes lust, possession. Love has no possession. But the moment it's corrupted by ego, I want to possess it. Trouble starts. and I want to possess it. If somebody else has it, I develop hatred. See, hatred is born out of ego. Jealousy is born out of ego. I love something wonderful, but then why do I feel jealousy? Because he has it, I don't have it. Wow. Unfortunately, that our wonderful emotions, soft emotions, divine conditions are corrupted by ego. And when that corrupts, ego corrupts that. It generates into anger, hatred, jealousy. All these things are born out of ego. You don't have natural anger, natural love, natural anger, natural jealousy, natural possession. You don't have it. Nature doesn't have it. Ego brings about that. Ego comes up. Why do ego comes up? Because you have nurtured the ego so much. Every activity we nurture this ego. I'm angry, I'm hungry, I am so important. I become so. Look at the way English language, every other letter you write in the lowercase. I comes, we write in the uppercase. Just have you ever thought about why I has to be in uppercase? There's no reason. Only reason is how can I be in a lowercase? I have to be in uppercase. You don't have to do it. Microsoft will do it for you. Maintain your ego. Dissolve this ego. There is no reason for it. Ego is always about outside, not about you. You see, ego is I'm knowledgeable. Knowledge from outside. Ego is I'm beautiful. Beauty is short-lived. Ego is money. Money is somebody else's. All the ego is outside of you. It's like your dress. Outside the dress. But then we shine by the ego. I'm great, I'm great. For everything I should be important. Are give up this ego. Then you are naturally in the state of love, compassion. Love is a central unit, and then it has various varieties of manifestation, like the way that you pass the love through the prism, it gives 7 different colors, rainbow colors. One is compassion, other is vatsalya. In fact, in Sanskrit, we have all those things. Sneha, friendship is love. Such a wonderful thing. But then we always corrupt it, saying that Sneha starts, I must possess it. No. Why can't you just be friend? Why do you have to possess it? Nothing. So this is how we get corrupted. Ego corrupts all those things. Prema, vatsalya, child. It's actually vatsalya. You look at the child, you feel like that. Immediately ego comes up. My child is not like this child. Or this child is not like my child. You bring about that comparison. All these things is because of it. Don't bring. Dissolve this ego. Bhakti is not finding God. Bhakti is all dissolving yourself. When you dissolve yourself, God alone is there. Where is not God there? That's what Hiranyakashipu says to his father. God is everywhere. Foolish fellow asks his son, saying that, can you show me God in this pillar? Or I am telling everywhere God is there. And you say in this pillar? It's so beautifully said by the poet, saying that when Hiranyakashipu is asking that, can you show me God in the pillar? The plants there, the bushes there, the trees there, and the stone there, everybody is waiting. Manifest that God. Let him point out to me so that God can come up. God is there everywhere. There is not a place where God is not there. Not only outside, even within you, God is not there. There's nothing like that. You have also God within you. But we don't allow it to come up. Your ego stops the God, not from outside, from within you. Dissolve this ego. You also become like divine. So that's what is the idea. Well, all the practice of Bhakti Yoga is to see that how you can dissolve this ego so that there is no possession. There is one small little, one not small, but story that I will say and complete it. Those days, okay, small story I will tell. People used to go through the forest from place to place and all that. And Ramakrishna married Sharda Devi, very young. She was about 6 years, 7 year old. Now she has grown up, she's 17 years. She wanted to go to her husband's place. Thick forest in between. But then Dakshineshwar she wanted to go. Those days, people would go move in caravan. The whole group was moving, and then Sharda Devi with her uncle, they were going. And while going, suddenly, second day, Sharda Devi fell sick. She could not keep pace with the rest of the group. She could not keep pace with the group, therefore that she slowed down. And others do not slow down because of one person, they don't want to take risk their life. So they moved ahead. So by the time it was midnight, pitch dark everywhere, Sharda Devi and her uncle were in the forest. The rest of them went away. You know, in the darkness in that forest, eerie sound around. When you're walking, already you are frightened. Added to that, every step that you put on the dry leaves makes sound. Your heart beats. When this was the condition, suddenly they heard a thunderous voice saying, "Who is walking in the forest?" Knew that it's a dacoit. And now finished. Uncle became absolutely nervous. Sharda Devi also has become nervous because there is no way you can save yourself. But then Sharda Devi composed herself and said that, "Who is walking in the forest?" She replied to him, "Father, my name is Sharda." In Bengal that you use the expression elderly person, father. This dacoit, he never heard this word called as father to him. Somebody calling. First time he heard somebody calling him his father. Because dacoit, his own children will not call him a father. And here is that lady, she calls him father. At once he melted down. That's what the power of love. And he says, "Why are you walking in the forest?" I mean, can you think that any dacoit will ask this question? It just loot her and destroy her and molest her and all. "Why are you walking in the forest?" She said, "I'm going to my husband for the first time. I felt sick. That's why I stranded in the forest." When this conversation was going on, the dacoit's wife hears that. You say, "Arey, why don't you finish your business and come? Why are you talking to?" You see, look at her. And then this dacoit, as if she saved him, you say, "Hey, you are here, come here, I need you." Immediately the dacoit wife comes there. Look at the dacoit, because she called him father, he felt love towards her. He felt modesty. He says to his father, mother, wife, she says, "Sharda," she says, "she's sick. Can you touch her and find out whether she's sick?" He can't even touch her. And then dacoit's wife touches her and says, "Wow, she's running high temperature. And what kind of a man you are? Just standing and talking to her." She scolds her husband. Yeah. You take her home. Let me go and get some herbs. Middle of the night, they go get her herbs. Whole night, they rub her feet and then serve her the portion of the car. And next morning, that she becomes all right. When this was happening, uncle started wondering, am I saying reality? Because he never expected this to happen. Next morning, she became normal. Uncle was waiting for that. And the dacoit says, "Now she's okay. I'm so glad that her temperature's come down. She's normal." Then immediately uncle said, "Okay, we'll now go to the Dakshineshwar." Dacoit says, "No, you're not going." What is the problem now? He thought that he can get rid of. He said, "No, you are not going." Why? Look at the reply of the dacoit. He said that she called me father. And she said first time she's going to her husband. Which father will send a daughter alone to go to husband's place? I go with her. Wow. People know that you are a dacoit. They'll kill you and hang you in front of the gate. That I will take care of it. You don't bother about it. He goes all the way to Sharda Devi, dropped her at Ramakrishna, had food there, comes back. Power of love. Love can change the world. Satarati, salokan tarayati. So therefore, God is not that important in bhakti. Your own love, enriched love, ennobled love, dissolving of ego is important in the case of bhakti. Let's do that. Thank you so much.
Question?
Yes.
So yesterday we spoke about prana and how the chakra converts potential to kinetic energy.
Sorry, I'm louder.
Yesterday we spoke about prana.
Yeah.
Right? How the chakras convert the potential energy to kinetic. So I'm wondering if there's something that stops the unmanifest from turning into manifest. Like for example, you said that there is a thought that says I need to make coffee, and then I actually go and make the coffee. So there are a lot of thoughts that don't go from unmanifest to manifest. So
Yeah.
what stops it? That's what I'm wondering.
Can you come close to the
Yeah,
mic and then or repeat the question, please?
Is that I gave in the earlier talk, I gave the idea that some of the thoughts that are there do not become manifest. What is that which prevents from manifesting of that particular thoughts? Actually, it is not about the thoughts, it's about everything. Unmanifest level, there are zillion things. And only point not 1% will come to the manifestation. That's what is the law of the nature. And with that itself is something which is wonderful. Like for example, simple thing is that if you look at the mango tree, the season comes, you can see the mango tree is full of flowers. Each one has an ability to become a mango. And if they become mangoes, then you can see that every tree gives 1,000,000 mangoes. But then one gale comes, big wind comes, 99% of the flower drop off. Only few flowers. And they become small little mangoes. And then there is a hurricane comes, or there is a big rain comes. 99% of those fruits will drop off. What remains will become mangoes. And you know what we say? This year, excellent crop of mangoes. That means we expect only that percentage. Similarly, thoughts are there. Zillion thoughts are there. They do not become manifest. Doesn't matter. And manifest it is there, it will become like that. Similarly, so many souls, they try to manifest, but then they don't manifest. They before manifestation, they go away, before even going into the womb, that they miss it, and all those things happen. So it's nature that only 0.1% is the one which manifests into the world outside. So unmanifest to manifest, everything doesn't become manifest. Everything doesn't become manifest. That's what is the law of the nature. Yes.
I wanted to go back to love.
Yeah.
And I think that in today's culture, love can sometimes be associated with feeling pain, emotional pain.
With?
Love can
Yeah.
lead to emotional pain.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that or explanations as to how that happens in life?
Can you repeat it?
She said that love can also lead to pain.
Oh yes,
And,
my God.
What is your interpretation?
You know what?
Repeat the question, please.
Love manifests with a pain. And how do you explain about that? What's the idea about that? In fact, yes?
The same question, just I want to add the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we love too much, automatically we attach that object or plant or garden. How can we detach from that? Though we have.
First idea that we are given, she says that automatically attachment happens. Be careful. Where there is attachment, there is no love. Where there is attachment, there is no love. When the love recedes, attachment comes into the picture. When the love becomes insecure, the attachment comes into the picture. Otherwise, attachment is not there. But her question is something which is much more subtler. That means love is always associated with the pain. And that pain is something which is extraordinary. Meera gives a very beautiful explanation about that. He says that when I only see that amount of pain, I'm convinced that how much I love Krishna. The pain is like the way that it is a yardstick for the amount of love. If I didn't have that pain, I wouldn't have known that I love him so much. So then what happens is that pain, you take it very positively. You see, we run away from the pain. Running away from the pain is not solution. Running away from the pain is not accepting the reality. In the case of, Radha, that's what the actually situation. Krishna says that I'm going to Mathura. I don't want to tell the whole story because it will take a long time. But Radha is in love with Krishna, Krishna is in love with Radha, and Krishna wanted to marry Radha and all those things. And then, but meanwhile, suddenly Akrura comes and then says that Krishna, you have to go to Mathura immediately because Kamsa wants you to come. So next day he is supposed to go. This was like a shock for Radha. Radha is sitting there and Krishna says, Radha, you know what? What? Actually, that's a very beautiful situation where the gossip goes into the world. And by the time Krishna went there and then Akrura was there and all that, gossip came to Radha. And then Krishna came, Radha said, wow, you are a great fellow. She taunts him. You're a great fellow. Why? You see, look, emperor like Kamsa sends an invitation to you. And he never invited you, your father. You never invited my father. See, that means you are a great fellow. See, that's what she was enjoying, taunting him. And Krishna says, that's not the truth. Don't tell me that this is not the truth, but you just want to make a play out of it. But then this is the truth. He said, no, this is not the truth. You don't know what is the reality. Then what is it? Then Krishna says, why Kamsa wanted me to be there? You don't understand it. I said, what? He's doing Rajasya Yajna, he invited. No. You know that 8th son of Devaki died? Is missing? 70 sons died, 6 sons died, and the 7th is. And then the 8th son is missing. Yeah. And then you know that Kamsa is searching for that 8th son and kill them because that son is supposed to kill Kamsa. Yes. Now you look at the way that she is. She is now half in doubt. Yeah. And then Kamsa thinks that I am that 8th son. So he invited me to kill me. This is like a shock. But Krishna understands that this is a shock, Radha has it. That's why he says to Radha, saying that, don't worry, Radha, I will kill Kamsa and then I will come back. But Radha's doubt was not that. She is subtle. Radha's doubt is, this fellow is the 8th son of Devaki. That means he's the God. He's not an ordinary human being. Wow. That means he's born to do something extraordinary. And then he says, Krishna, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, whether you die, Kamsa will kill you. That's not the idea. The question is, you're so great, so wonderful. You have a mission in your life. Whereas my life is very simple here. In Vrindavan, I'm with this river and then with this cows and all that. Please go ahead. I'll come back and marry you. Radha says, no, you will not come back. I'll be sad. But I feel that how much I love you. Go ahead. You will not come back. That was the last time that he saw Radha. And you don't have the story of Radha after that. Krishna, while going, he says that, keep this flute with you. I know that's very significant. The idea is, flute is, it's a very cheap bamboo stick. It has no value at all. And it has holes, all the more weak. And you throw exhale air through that. That's also useless. but the melody you get, divine. Material value is nothing, whereas melody is divine. Possessing Krishna is material value. Allowing Krishna to go, spiritual value. That's what. The pain is there in Radha, but the pain says that I don't want to possess Krishna because Krishna becomes divine. Let him go. You know, when that happened, Krishna says to Radha, Radha, it looks like that I don't understand you, but you are so extraordinary. Radha raises far above the Krishna at that point of time. He never possessed her. So the moment that possession comes, love degenerated. I want to attach, that means love is not there. Love and attachment do not go together at all. That's why I say that we know, we go through love, we don't understand what love is. That's the reason why we start, the moment attachment comes, we start demanding. Children grow, but in spite of it, child has to do the way that I want him to do it, I want her to do it. This I see in every family. Because that we don't understand what love is. We don't allow the freedom. Love helps you to give the freedom to the other. Go ahead, have the freedom. Children, you please go ahead, do what you want to do it. I love you. But when the attachment comes, you say, I love you if you fit yourself within my framework. Otherwise, I don't love you. Finish. Subtle. That's why Bhakti Yoga has to be understood. Asana pranayama is easy to understand. Anyway, I'll stop it here. Wonderful question. I like that. Pain and love. Yes, Chetan, yeah.
What if Bhakti is so powerful as a path, then why the other paths? Jnana and
Yeah. You see, what happens is that these paths are not exclusive. Sometimes what happens is that we are more intellectual. When you are intellectual, that time we choose the jnana path. Many times we want to do the work, physical work. That time karma yoga is the path. And many times of the day, we feel like doing the discipline. Therefore, Raja Yoga is there. The idea is that your life, you fill it with the help of yoga. Whether it is Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga. When people try to express it, if I have to look at my Patanjali Yoga Sutra book, I give you the Raja Yoga is the best of the yogas. But when I talk on Patanjali, in Narada book, I say, oh, Bhakti Yoga is excellent. Then not only I say, Krishna also says that. Krishna also says that. When he talks about Jnana Yoga, Krishna, Rahijnanena Sadrisham Pavitram, there is nothing like Jnana. I know that he is just only trying to impress upon people that Jnana is instructed. That's all. There is no political agenda behind it. Yes.
So, when you're taking Bhakti Yoga, so if you involve this Bhakti or if you
Yes.
are in that Bhakti with karma and everything else you do all day long,
Yeah.
then you are automatically in Raja Yoga, it is still temporary, and then you have to.
In fact, the question is, Bhakti Yoga is there, we come back to Bhakti Yoga, there is Jnana Yoga, there is Raj Yoga. You go to that state and then come back. That's why I gave the beginning itself the idea that Samadhi is our own nature. You're not going back anywhere. You're always there only. Only thing is that we play with all these different types of yoga, but otherwise you are there only. Nothing like going back. That's what Vivekananda said. We are potentially divine. Unless Sarve Amritasya Putraha, Upanishad says that. So, Amritatva is our own nature. The body is Mritatva, quality is there. Yeah,
And then why are you teaching everyone to do meditation every day?
yeah, because we don't teach them that they don't even do that. Otherwise, I would tell them, come on, have some, sit with me, have a cup of chai. That's the best thing that you can do. I never become serious with these things. Yes,
In the definition that you gave about Bhakti Yoga, and you said in the beginning of the talk that majority of the people, for example, in
Yes.
India are Bhakti yogis. It's really not the case. I mean, in the sense, the way I'm looking at it, most of the people, it's still a barter with the God. You say, I'll do this puja, you give me good marks, you give me,
yes.
marry my child, whatever it is, right? So in that sense, it's not a Bhakti yoga. It may be a ritualistic Bhakti transactional.
Do you think that it is bhakti? The bhakti is
It may
not.
not even be.
Right.
Some of those people are also,
Yeah.
evil come from.
See, what happens is, like the way that every part of yoga has some ignorance, people just do asanas thinking that this is Raj Yoga. People do some charity work here and there, think that this is Karma Yoga. Like that, people go to the temple and do some seva there, and then they think that is what is Bhakti Yoga. But we, the people who are in the path of yoga knowledge, we should know very clearly, at least we should know very clearly, what is Raj Yoga, what is Jnana Yoga, what is Bhakti Yoga, beyond the practices that are there. I'm not denying the practice of asanas. I'm not denying the practices of charity that you do it. I'm also not denying the practice of going to the temple and praying, all those things. But with all those things, the background that you have this knowledge, it, enriches your practices so much. That is something what I'm talking about. That's why this philosophy is very important.
Any questions online? We'll take one question.
I did wish.
If not, I have something. I just wanted to say that, can we safely say that we are actually, on the question of which yoga is Sreshta, that is whether Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga or all. My take on that is they are not different streams as such. Maybe initially they are, but ultimately won't the Bhakti culminate in Jnana and Jnana culminate in Bhakti? And of course, Karma Yoga and Raja Yoga are the disciplines that are going to take you towards that ultimate Jnana and ultimate Bhakti state. Just, yeah.
Might say it, Narada doesn't agree with that. Narada, very clearly, there are a couple of sutras in Narada Bhakti Sutra where he says that somebody expresses jnana will help you. Says, no, you don't need jnana at all. You just follow bhakti. He says that. Some amount of jnana, this thing. He says, Narada says, forget about all those things. Just go ahead with the bhakti. The idea is that having to say that this path, that path, that path, will make us a little, it's kind of a political statement. We give, you see, it's like we are trying to work a compromise, saying that, just give an idea that somebody is having a injury in the leg, and then he will use the crutches. Leg becomes all right. Now he can walk. Then that person goes to the doctor, says, can I use the crutches sometimes along with walking? I said, you don't need it. Why do you have to use it? No, but I don't want to give it up because that's also useful. I used it for 6 months, I was using it. This is like that. So have confidence in what you do it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at her, she's taking out her. So that, no, it is just joking. Yeah. So when you're doing Bhakti Yoga, what Narada expresses is that, come on, have a full faith on Bhakti. And, you ask anything about Bhakti, you get the clarifications of Bhakti. I'm okay with that. Just, Narada says, don't compromise with that idea. It's pure. The kind of thing. Sorry, I did not criticize you, but I just wanted to give that idea. There are sutras that are there in Narada So I just giving that. When I gave that explanation for those sutras in my book, I've clarified those things, how deeply it means. I gave that idea. Anyonya ashrayanam iti anye. Some people say that anyonya ashrayanam, that one depends on the other. Narada says, forget about it. It's very clear about that.
It's all about
I have a
Ananda.
question
Yes. Yeah, there's
online.
one. Wait, yeah,
No, that's okay. I'm just saying. it's
you
a
give.
statement.
Yeah, you tell.
So it's all about Anandamaya Kosha, whatever
Absolutely.
makes you happy, with
Right.
whatever kind of yoga, just go for it, but ultimately they all combine together into,
All.
that's it, into Anandamaya Kosha.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Anandamaya is the basic thing. It's our own nature. That's why I also gave that. What's the difference between a yogi and non-yogi person? 100% does activities for the sake of Ananda. Yogi happily does it. That's a simple thing. Yes, you have another idea?
Yeah, so talking about the love and detachment, how does it fit with the parenting?
Love your child. Don't be attached to the child, because let the child grow. Your attachment should not cripple the child's growth. You should allow the child to blossom. You be a support for the child to blossom in. And whichever the child blossoms, it's fine, because the simple thing is that I tell you, very important thing that we need to recognize is that I still remember the world that I grew up. That means 40 years back, what the world is. And the child belongs to today's world. I just don't understand today's world, because my mind will not give information about this today's world. We think that we know, but we just do not know. Let's accept that humility. Then allow the child to grow in the world that the child lives. That's important. Parenting is basically that, you know what, how beautifully it is said that it's your, God has provided you with a protector for the child. Parent is there. That's God's arrangement. But the growth of the child is her own or his own. It's not yours.
So that means if we want to, because they are, can we stop them, or we see something wrong? Does that imply there? Do we guide them?
You guide them for protecting. Guide them for protecting, because what is something which is not good for them,
Hmm.
they go behind it. You see that, you see, out of ignorance, they go behind it.
Right.
That give the knowledge.
Hmm.
In fact, there's another thing which is very important, is that there are two things in the children. One is that, like the way that we have our own self-consciousness, the child has a self-conscious. We should believe in that. The second thing that we need to believe is that the child goes out of ignorance. Child does not know what is right, what is wrong. Many things that they do it. So what is right you give, but the most important thing that child is, a lot of things child learns by imitation, not by what, but what you live. So in front of the child, very important thing is you live a life which is something that the child always remembers and follows. You see, small little simple things. The lady leaves this sari. You see, a girl child is there, puts on that sari, tries to tie that sari. That itself shows that the child would love to imitate. Dad leaves his shoes, the boy wears that shoes. In fact, in one shoe, both the feels good, but then he enjoys that. And he orders his younger sister, look, I'm dad telling you, stop this. All that is there. So they love by imitation. That's an, not only that, this is what I'm okay. They say there is a child personality. what Jung says is the child personality is the child, but whereas Indian philosophy is, you're always a child. That is there. Be careful about that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll just
Thank
finish
you.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So
Mhm.
together, heart center. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
We go offline.